The Fujicast is an independent Loading Zone production.
Listen to this for a moment. So I've been getting up quite early at the moment. I always get up quite early. I think there's an additional level of stress at the moment that seems to wake me up just a teensy bit earlier still. But I like early mornings. That's when I usually get my emails done. I do some breathing exercise. We talked about this on the podcast the other day, myself and Kev. I do, if I can, some exercise before breakfast. I'm usually up early enough to make sure I do that. I was going to the gym during that period as well. So mornings to me are vital lifeline to the day. They really are. But this morning, as I came down to the office and heard the birds, there was this everything seems normal for a moment feeling, and that at the moment I think is really, really important.
The Fujicast.
Nature is a great leveller, as they say. And now Stoicism was mentioned. By the way, welcome to the Fujicast Daily, a daily Fujicast. Kev's not always going to be around at the weekends. We were going to do it Monday through Friday, and I said, you know what, Kev, I fancy communicating a bit at the weekends. Would you mind if I did it and occasionally brought on some other people to have a chat as well? And sometimes Kev's going to appear as well. So there we go. So as long as I'm fit and can upload these things, then we're going to try and make this a 7-day-a-week thing for the foreseeable, as seems to be a phrase at the moment. Now, Stoicism was mentioned yesterday, and up to maybe a year ago, though I'd heard of it, I not really considered how important it was or could be. I thought, well, that's for clever people, that, really, Stoicism. I'd seen the Sean Tucker YouTube film about it, and then I started to read a little bit more myself, and I subbed to a channel called Daily Stoic. And for those of you who are still thinking, what the f*** is he talking about? Many good websites describe it out there. And one of the good ones I found was from njlifehacks.com, no relation. Quote, in short, stand by, Stoicism is a tool set that helps us direct our thoughts and actions in an unpredictable world. We don't control and cannot rely on external events, but we can, to a certain extent, control our mind and choose our behaviour. And so for me, whether we knew the word or not before now, we've all, some more than others, granted, embraced and become Stoics. And I've seen some balanced and hearty news beginning to surface too. It feels like the press have thought, now we've frightened everybody half to their wits' end. I don't want to use the D word for obvious reasons. Let's start to see what positives there are, what glimmers of hope there are. Let's talk about what people are doing instead of simply, doing well rather, instead of simply bad behaviour. I'm still perplexed by the amount of people involved in this panic buying, and frankly, I can't understand why folk aren't more ashamed. It's almost like we need some sort of reset button, isn't it? But I do think this will come. So I've seen a few films I'd recommend watching. Here's some weekend homework. I'll put the links in the show notes, which if you're listening to this through any of the main podcast apps, you'll be able to click on. As I say, Kev's not around at the weekend, so these episodes may not go up on the usual website till Monday when the main show is going on anyway. But it's on Apple, it's on Google Podcasts, Castbox, Spotify, Overcast, and. So you'll be able to get these links. Films, 3 of them. This one's worth a watch. The Stoic Response to the Coronavirus Pandemic. I promise you this is a fascinating insight into what you can control and what you can't, and how to deal with that feel of loss of control. Ryan Holiday is really interesting to listen to and to watch. He runs the Daily Stoic. I'll put that link up. Then there's 2 things I saw on, guess what? The BBC. I know I was giving the BBC a bit of a hard time on my own Facebook feed for some of the way that they'd handled some of this. But originally, when I saw this particular episode or this film title, I thought, oh, please, no. And I put my head in my hands physically. How Britain's plague village is coming together. And I thought instantly, I thought, well, they've obviously got a village that have been self-isolating. And, well, you can see where my mind was running. But it's not about that at all. More than 350 years ago, the Derbyshire village of Eyam quarantined itself during the plague. You might have heard about this village. Because the rector at the church in that village managed to persuade people to stay quarantined, therefore avoiding the further spread of the plague. And it's It's quite a warming story, even though obviously it's not got many nice endings. But now it's using those lessons about humanity to face coronavirus, and that's the film. And the film starts and closes with a beautiful woman, and by that I mean her approach to life, because this lady has perhaps much to fear. If you see the film, you'll understand, but also much to gain in terms of her own, coming back to the word, stoicism. Anyway, that's the second one, and I'll link to that as well. And then there was this one I spied this morning on the BBC from Beijing. Coronavirus, people in Beijing begin to head outdoors. After several days with no homegrown infections, according to China's official figures, there is a feeling that the coronavirus emergency appears to be under control. Now, I'm not daft enough to think that things can't happen again in these places as things are relaxed. But this is a well put together piece about people, real feelings, real optimism. And I suggest you have a watch, because we're going in at the front end of this. They're coming out at the back end. I don't know what's going to happen to that back end bit, but I thought this was worth a view. So there we go, 3 bits of homework. Now, today as photographers, we used to, well, some of us at any rate, working alone, aren't we? We spend hours on our Macs and our PCs and tablets, and we're head down in emails or editing. And for many of us, that's become the norm. And let's be fair, we're used to it. So you'd think that initially working from home or being in isolation wouldn't be too much of a problem, notwithstanding, obviously, the financial stuff that's coming with all this. But now that we've been told we can't go out and we can't mix, and well, the isolation, well, that might not so much have changed, but it's become a matter of choice. Whereas once we could say, you know what, stuff this today, I'm going to go and call my mate and go for a pint and talk stuff over. So I thought we'd talk about communication today, and a tool which you may well have heard of that I think could be very, very useful right now. For our businesses too. So if you're a photographer in business and you want to reach out and talk to your clients or other photographers, I think this is a really good tool. To do that, one of our FujiCast Facebook moderators, our Facebook group moderator, Steve Vaughan, is going to help me, as he's been using it a little while now. I grabbed him prior to his corona size, as some people are now calling their daily keep fit sessions. Oh, Steve, I'm glad I've caught you before you've gone out for your walk, but you're not going just yet, are you?
No, we're not going to go till this afternoon, probably, for a little walk.
It's going to be important doing these things these days, isn't it?
I think as long as you observe the guidelines on social distancing, I think it's important to get out and get some fresh air. You know, it's good for your health, your mental health, your physical health, obviously. And, you can't stay in your physical house all the time. I think you go still crazy. The thing is just to avoid other people, to stay with the people from your own family unit, really.
In the lockdown cities, they were getting out. Well, I mean, in Paris, for example, you were allowed to go out and exercise, but it had to be only one person, wasn't it? One person. You couldn't go out as a family.
I think so. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think I just had a look on. I'm in a Facebook group for the Pennine Way. One day I want to try and walk that, and they're saying that it's it's okay to be with your family members. Yeah. But hey, I'm no expert. Obviously, people need to take the sensible precautions and read the government guidelines. But we're going to go for a little walk, take the dogs out, get some fresh air. And,
some normality. We're gonna go for a cycle ride along the. So all of us, all 4 of us, the 2 boys, Sam and I, we're going to go down to a favourite pub called the Row Barge. Now, the Row Barge on a Saturday, right next to the canal, would be heaving, Steve.
It would.
You wouldn't be able... So it'll be interesting. We said, well, we'll go and sit on one of the picnic benches that usually you wouldn't be able to get.
Yes.
And we'll take our own picnic.
That's a great idea. Some pubs, I think, are still doing takeaways, aren't they? I don't know how you find that out. So I think we're thinking of just going down to... We might even ride down to the south coast and just walk along a beach somewhere. There's bound to be a chip shop still open, I think.
Hang on a minute, you're going to ride down to the south coast?
No, drive down, not ride. Believe me, I'm not that fit.
You'd have to have left by now. The only thing is, though, I mean, I would feel going into a fish and chip shop. Am I compromising the myself or them or this idea of social distancing? Because
that's a good point.
Touching surfaces and...
So I managed to order a fair few bottles of hand sanitizer before they disappeared off the...
Tell me you did not stockpile?
No, not stockpile.
Otherwise I'm going to have to play you...
Stop hoarding. I can't be more blunt about it.
Stop it.
Most thoughts. Now, I ordered 4 bottles for
okay,
our house.
all right.
So, I don't know. That's a good point. I mean, we could just take sandwiches with us, I suppose, as well, and... It's a fine line, isn't it, between wanting to support businesses and try and help them stay in business, which, you know, God knows us in the wedding industry, we're all trying to do that right now.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, following the government's precautions and recommendations, really. So I honestly don't know on that one.
Have you got any thoughts on how you're going to take your business forward? I mean, the last few years you've been establishing your wedding business. It's looking good. It's going well. You're getting plenty of bookings in from what I hear from our conversations anyway. And then this. So have you got any thoughts about how you're going to pull out the other side? Obviously, I'm not asking you about your financial details. I wouldn't dare. But
yeah, of course.
But just the practice of being in business when this all ends, Steve.
You're right. This was going to be, well, still should be our business every year. We've put our prices up year on year, so this would have been really a good year for us. A year we were going to sort of make a bit of money, take some money out of the business, hopefully. And we've gone from what should have been our busiest 3 months and our best 3 months in terms of income to looking at potentially no income now for 3 months.
Yeah.
So I've always run, I'm sure you do the same, but I've always run with a cash flow predictor. So I've had a spreadsheet that looks sort of 12 months in the future. And on that spreadsheet, I put predicted income based on when bookings were due to come in. Fixed costs like the car that we run, tax, all those kind of things. And I've just been working on that, really. And my best advice to people right now, and, I'm not an accountant, but I am a quite experienced business person, is right now, cash is king. If you've got cash, you can survive as a business. Without cash, even profitable companies can go out of business. Big companies can go out of business if they have no cash.
So what about those that haven't got cash in their business? There'll be plenty of those people in the arts and crafts and photography and filmmaking, but they're not renowned for being great cash hoarders. No. And there's a word I'm using very carefully these days, but
yes.
but of course there will be those tempted, and I'm going to put my hand on my heart to say I may have to be one of those people if this goes on long term. And I have done it myself with another business where we had to borrow our way out of trouble. And this morning we were talking about this, and I said I don't really want to do it, but I might have to do it. And Sam said to me, well, don't forget, that's what the government are doing. You won't be any different.
Yes, but I would rather the government borrow for us and on our behalf than me doing it personally or as a business. So,
but those that need to, Steve, there will be those that need to. I mean, I'm not sure whether I should advise people to borrow their way through and out of it, but for some people, that's going to be their only solution.
So our advice from our accountant, and this might not be the same for everybody. And again, health warning. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer. Everybody should seek their own financial guidance. But the advice from our accountant, because we run a limited company, we're not sole traders. We run a limited company. The advice from our accountant was not to borrow too much where you as the directors underwrite that. Because if the worst came to the worst and the business did fold, and that's possible. If, God forbid, let's say that every wedding got cancelled this year or postponed, that would be a tough challenge, I think, for us to manage that. And if we start having to give significant amounts of money back for whatever reason, then that would be a game changer for us. What I don't want to do then is have a business failure and Sam and I having thousands of pounds of personal debt because of the business failure, So I'm sort of trying not to do that. We have negotiated overdraft facilities if we need them. At the moment, we don't, but we could do in several months' time.
Did you negotiate that as a result of this, or did you have that before?
I actually did it on Monday before things even got as serious as they are. I spoke to the bank, and they were very good. So that's and that's, if I may, that's what comes of running a clean and healthy business for a couple of years. You can have those kind of conversations. But what we've been able to do up to now with every wedding that we should have photographed March, April, May, and going into June now, and we should have been photographing today, is every one of those weddings so far have been postponed rather than cancelled. And that's the word I'm really encouraging people to use. I don't want them to use the C word, not coronavirus, but cancel is the C word.
There's many C words, and actually the corona one I find worse than all the other ones put together now, personally.
Yeah, I think we all do, but if they postpone, then it's a cash flow challenge for a while. If they're cancelling, especially if they've paid already, which some have, the whole balance, then that's a difficult conversation. You're into T's and C's and things, and we're trying to avoid that. But all I can say, Neil, is what we're doing. I can't really comment on other people.
Well, I think, but that's going to be one of the most important things over the coming months as we do this. I suspect, God willing, we're all fit.
Yes.
And I've watched a couple of videos of people that have come down. I follow one particular doctor, and but just because he's a great communicator, it was before this, and he came down with it. He's a guy that was on ITN the other day, so he's worried he's infected the whole ITN newsroom. Wow. But he was MedLife. He's worth following actually on YouTube. Speaks so very calmly about this, and he's been sharing. His latest video is sharing. His experience of having what he thinks is it, but of course he can't test himself. So he's a cardiologist, so he's got a pretty damn good idea of what's going on with his body, and he's pretty sure that that's what this is. And of course he's been working in hospitals. Despite being careful, it's happened to him. I can't remember where we were now. I was just thinking about him. But
I mean, on testing, I think there are rapid things happening. My background is in science. I was a chemist rather than a biologist, but I have a reasonable understanding of scientific matters. And from what I understand, we're moving from a lab-based test where a sample has to be taken, took back to a lab, an analysis done, which takes time, to testing where that can be done with a finger prick test, almost like a diabetes test.
Boris Johnson mentioned this the other day. Is that a test kit that then you would keep around like a diabetes testing kit that could work over?
I don't know that part of it, and it's a company I used to work for called Thermo Fisher that make these, and they're rolling them out across the world. But I think there's also another test coming, which is probably even more important, and that would be if you've had it, as opposed to have you got it.
Yes.
Because if you've had it, potentially you have some immunity, at least for a period of time, as I understand, and that would mean you could then help out in urgent, emergency areas if necessary. Actually,
this cardiologist felt sorry to interrupt you. This cardiologist felt that if you've had it, you're unlikely to get it back. I assume he's been reading some stuff.
Yeah, I think nobody knows. You will have some inherent immunity. How long that would last is nobody knows at this stage, really. Yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you about Zoom quickly. Because last night, Friday night, I had a very odd message from Denver, who's in the group, and it said, "Are you coming to the pub?" I thought, what are you talking about? Have you gone just a little bit? and then I got several more messages. Anna sent me one saying, "Are you coming to the pub?" And then I think I got your invite through Zoom as well, and I thought, what are they all talking? And you had set up a Zoom group, so everybody came to the virtual. Well, I say everybody. There was a few people came to the virtual pub last night, and I didn't join it till quite late. You lot had all been on like 4 or 5 rounds before I got there.
I've still got the headache. Yeah,
but
yeah, it was good fun. We had about 12 people at one stage.
Was it? Wow. Yeah. So can you run me through Zoom? Because Zoom.us is what we're talking about, not Zoom, the manufacturer of audio equipment. So let's get the two of those organised. So how does it work? And I'm not asking you to give us a full technical review. How easy is it to get on, get yourself an account? What does it cost? And why is it important during this time?
Okay, so my experience of Zoom is through the other business that I run that I think you know about, Neil. So I run a sales training business in my old industry, which is scientific equipment, and not surprisingly, all that business has dried up as well. Yeah. Nobody's doing face-to-face meetings for the foreseeable future. No. So we're moving to use, and we already were working on doing more remote training and remote learning, and we're just ramping that up really. So Zoom is one of a number of web conferencing or business peer-to-peer sort of conferencing platforms, really. There are others. Obviously, people know Skype. There's Google Hangouts. There's Facebook meetings. There's another one called GoToMyMeeting as well. Oh, yeah. Zoom is the one that I've used and find works the best, really. So, and the good thing is it's free to a point.
I was going to say that sounded too good to be true for a moment.
Yeah, I think it's free insofar as you can only have a certain number of people on it with a free account and it's limited to a certain amount of time. So last night we were on for about 3 hours, but then I have a paid-for account. I pay £14 a month as a business cost, but that gives me the ability to hold up to 50, I think, people on, which would be a big group, actually.
Wow.
What I like about it, though, it's really solid. Some of these other platforms seem a bit flaky, and as long as you've got a decent internet connection, you can run it on your phone, you can run it on your computer, on your tablet.
I mean, I like Skype, but I have to say it's a bit flaky if you get 1 or 2 people on at the same time. Sorry, I don't mean not one-to-one. I mean, if you get another couple on in a conference situation, it's not ideal.
And I think that's the difference. This is a conferencing tool, really. The other thing about the paid account is that you can record the meeting or the chat, so you can actually record it as a video MP4 file. Obviously, you should tell people you're doing that.
I was saying, don't tell me you were doing that last night with all the conversations we were having.
I was really tempted, but I didn't know. You can put virtual backgrounds on it as well. So I
saw that. Yeah, I started playing with that towards the end.
Yeah, I was in Memphis, and I think Peter Kaspergen was being invaded by giant viruses at one stage. But that's good fun. You do need to have a camera, and like all sort of video sort of tools, really, decent lighting if possible. But it's not, it's not a must. But a webcam, ideally, one a bit better than one on your computer if you've got one.
I found that out myself.
And as you would know, Neil, decent audio.
Well, I had decent audio, but I had rubbish camera because I was using the one out the iMac, and really I wanted just the XT3 sat there, and I was thinking, why can't I connect these two together?
So I use a device by a company called Elgato, who I think we were well known in the Apple Mac world a while ago, but they've sort of diversified a bit now. So they make a 4K to USB converter. So you plug in the HDMI cable at one end.
Right, we've got one. I've just thought, Jack uses it. Well, he doesn't use it at the moment. He was making little YouTube films that go into his. He's got a PC, but it would work with my Mac, wouldn't it? It's just a USB in.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow, no, we've got one. Got one.
Yeah, and you just use your XT3. Then I've got my XT3 set up with the 18 to 55 on the tripod. I've got with a battery grip because you want it to be on. You don't want the power saving feature to kick in, obviously. So I've got it on with the battery, with the power charger, so the say into the battery grip. And it works great. It gets a little bit warm when it's been on all day, but it works absolutely fine. Brilliant. It's not 4K video it's HD video on Zoom, but obviously the better quality going in, the better the image will be coming out.
So if you pay the £14, does that mean, I mean, you've said that you can have 50 people online. Does that mean you've got unlimited time during the month as well?
I believe so, yes. Right, so we were on for 3 hours last night, getting slightly twiddled. I've never had anybody say you can't schedule another meeting. No. I should say also it integrates nicely with diary tools like Outlook or Google Calendar or Apple Calendar, whatever it's called. There are plugins for that as well, so you can schedule meetings using that.
So to go through the basics, you last night, there's one person in control, that was you, because you dialed in with your account, and then you had to send the people an invite individually. Or for example, next Friday you're doing the same thing. It's in the virtual pub. We should call it the Fuji pub or something. I don't know.
Think of something.
Think of something maybe a bit dafter. But would you be able to put a link like that in an actual Facebook group itself, or would that not be a great idea?
I'm a bit loath to do that because what I don't want is to get slightly out of control. It was good fun last night, but if we suddenly get 100 people trying to join, it might be a nightmare to.
So this is really for different people within this group to the Facebook group, that is, to maybe go find your own little virtual groups, because I know there's lots of little groups within the FujiCast Facebook group, and outside that world as well, you'll have friends and family and other work colleagues that maybe this is a great solution for. And I thought it was a really nice idea Friday night at the pub. I just thought just a sense of a little bit of normality.
Yeah, and I think it is important in these challenging times that we communicate, and we all communicate as much as we can. And if we can't do that face-to-face, let's find other ways of doing it, really. Yeah. Your podcast is a great way that you and Kev do. But other tools that we can find just to keep in touch with people, really. I've got other groups set up now for family. I've got family all over the country as well, so we've set up a little group. And whatever we can do just to keep chatting to people.
That's brilliant. Thank you for the invite to the pub yesterday. I feel honoured.
You're welcome.
Although I did turn up too late. I thought I was that typical party. It's turning up to a party after you've been at work all day, and you've had the extended shift, and they're all going, "Oh, welcome, come in." And you're thinking, I don't know if I want to be here right now.
But it wasn't quite that bad, but it was good fun.
I'm painting it slightly. Anyway, look, have a good walk. And thank you as well, Steve, for all the work you do on the actual Facebook group itself, because you're moderating along with Peter, and we know you do that for the love of it. So thank you very much for that.
It's a pleasure, mate. And take care and enjoy your ride and stay safe.
And you enjoy that coast as well. That's it then for today's FujiCast Daily. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. We'll keep doing this as long as I say, God willing, we're all well and we can keep uploading. That's the plan. Kevin will be joining me as usual on the weekday dailies that we do, occasionally the weekend. And of course, the main show is on Monday, an extended show on Monday. And we have a really, really, really good guest who's going to be talking about a particular project, Mick Gray. I don't want to spoil it. Listen on Monday. Anyway, yes, so see you tomorrow. It's vitally important, and this is a lifeline as well for us, myself and Kev on the Daily, that we have stuff to talk about. So please, and we've seen them coming in, and this is great. Keep sending your questions about photography, because, hell, we need to keep talking about photography too. That's what this podcast was originally invented for. Any questions about photography? And of course, your thoughts, what you're going through, any ideas you have for business coming out the other end and stuff like that. That's really, really precious stuff to everybody listening. If you can share, that would be really, really magnanimous of you and very, very generous, because what we want is this daily podcast, which we understand to be the only of its exact kind, I think, in the podcast sphere at the moment. Podcast sphere, not fear. Fact, not fear, going out. So if you can share it, that would be fantastic. Let your mates, who, whatever they shoot with Fuji or Nikon or Nikon or Canon or Leica and so on and so forth, let them know as well. In the meantime, speak to you tomorrow. Stay safe.
The FujiCast is an independent Loading Zone production. Email the show with your questions and words of wisdom to click@fujicast.co.uk. Email any complaints and political nonsense to our wives, who will deal with your comments in their own good time and in their own good way.